Hi there, good day. So, once again, it's very nice to reach out to all of you beautiful people. Yes, I'm not so fortunate like many other YouTubers, but it is my duty to carry on with presenting meaningful perspectives on various issues. Without these perspectives, without sharing important perspectives, we will not be able to see the world in a meaningful way or to make sense about why we are struggling so much, about why there's so much of hopelessness. Okay? So once again, just excuse my situation. The most important thing is that I'm getting some good Wi-Fi, and I'm here to talk about a very important topic, and that's called slave being about slave and slavery. Very, very important. So remember from my videos, patience is virtue. Alright, I don't have time to do the formal thing on the computer where I can just go right ahead and follow a diagram, So I'll be taking my time and doing this and do this presentation. Patience is virtue. Please bear with me, okay? Thank you so much. Okay, so let me see. I have the definition here in from the English dictionary. So what is a slave, or who is a slave? Okay, so rest assured, just be patient with me. Towards the end, you will really appreciate how does slavery apply to us as people. Okay, so believe me, we are enslaved, and later on you're gonna know why. Let's get some basic things together. A person who is held in servitude as the property of another person, and whose labor is subject to the owner's violation and control. So if you're the property of another person, or if your body and life is subjected to violation and control, then that person is a slave, or you can say that person's under slavery. So slavery, let me see, that will be the noun. I think so. Good. Another important perspective: one who has no power of resistance to something, one who surrenders to or is under the domination of something. To a slave to passion, to strong drink, to ambition. So this definition here is very, very important, because we try to use or understand or take the general meaning and apply the general meaning. Specific meanings is just for time, place, and circumstance, but the general meaning of the word slave, it has to be acknowledged so that it can be properly applied. So a slave is basically a person, let me see, yes, who has no power of resistance. So we can see in this world that we are trying our best. We're trying our best to live this life, and we find it so very difficult. Sometimes we try to resist. We try to resist this life here, and you resist in the form of revolution. People do all kinds of things, but you still find yourself under the control of the system. You find yourself under the control of the system. So we must acknowledge the symptoms of slavery. So the first thing it says here, having no power of resistance. Okay? So the question is, do you feel that you want to basically break free? You want to have freedom in this life. Do you feel confined, and you have no power to overcome this confinement? Okay, and many times the answer is no. We feel very confined in this world under the system, right? So confinement, good. So resistance. Do you feel that you want to resist but you cannot resist? Resist means to go against whatever is controlling you. And the answer is, we don't even know what we are under right now, much less to talk about resistance. But that's where I have to clarify something now. That's where I come in. Now, together we rise, together we fall. Slavery is a collective something and an individual something. So, as people, we contribute to the culture that we live in. We contribute to the culture that we live in. And I must tell you, if just excuse the noise in the background. Okay, they're making road in the background there, so you guys will really have to bear with me on this recording. It's very noisy, and actually place is shaking as well. Again, I'm not so fortunate like many YouTubers, right? Okay, so just bear with me. I hope you guys can hear, right? Yeah, so slavery is a collective something and an individual something. Let me just make a pause. Alright, so where does slavery begins? Slavery begins in the heart of every single person within a country. So it begins with our desires. Are we going to allow our humane desire to dominate, that tendency to value the feelings and freedom of all life? Are we going to allow that to dominate? The question is, people just go with the flow, and going with the flow means you follow another theory, survival of the fittest, disregarding the value for feelings and freedom. So because of this now, because many people are thinking along this line where we just want to dominate, we just want to survive and get rich or die trying, the theory of society emerges. When you put on average everybody's mindset, the theory of the society or the cultural survival theory emerges. You can put on your closed captioning, that CC button, and you can hear me talk too. I think that can be helpful as well, right? So we have contributed to the cultural survival theory, CST, cultural survival theory. All the average thoughts of the people within the country contributes to the CST, and as a result, we are now serving that new theory, and that theory is survival of the fittest. So right away, we have burdened ourselves as people. We cannot blame nobody. We have individually and collectively cocooned ourselves or wrapped ourselves with survival of the fittest through many layers of layers of greed and lust. Or you can put it in a practical sense, we have wrapped ourselves with so many desires, material desires. We have compromised our very valuable relationships with our family members, and we have compromised independence over nutrition and medicine. We have compromised those things. And because we compromise the basic things, where pure happiness comes from, we find ourselves not being happy, even though there are so many desires that we are following. So we have enslaved ourselves behind desires, and it manifests under consumerism. So survival of the fittest manifests as consumerism, and under consumerism, that controls the whole state of a society. What is said at hospitals, how treatments are done at hospitals, or you can say the education from a health perspective, the education from an academic perspective, the education from an economic perspective, and so on. All of these systems within the country have become compromised following survival of the fittest. So basically, we are putting our happiness on an artificial level, and we have cocooned ourselves. Cocoon means to wrap, right? Just like the silkworm, it will cocoon itself so that it will turn from a larva, where the pupa is the cocoon, and then the adult comes out, the moth comes out. Okay? So similarly, we have wrapped ourselves with so many levels of desires under consumerism, and we have enslaved ourselves. So that is why that is what slavery means, to find yourself under consumerism. As simple as that. Okay? So that is why now, when you're trying to fight consumerism, you can only fight consumerism or resist consumerism with a self-sufficient plant-based lifestyle. Growing your own fruits, vegetables, herbs, and collecting fresh rainwater. Basic stuff. Right? And first of all, we have no interest with that. Many people don't have any interest. So that is why resistance is hard for us to resist consumerism. We identify that consumerism is what is enslaving us. We created consumerism and it's having backlash on us. It enslaves us. We're under slavery. We do not even realize it. Those persons who look at my videos, they will hopefully realize it, right? And because you don't even know what is enslaving you, much less to speak about resisting that enslavement. So that's the situation of this world. So once again, Harriet Tubman, a famous African individual who fought against slavery, she said that if I could have convinced more people that they were slaves, I could have freed thousands more. I'm going to repeat it again. Very, very important. She said that if I could convince more people that they were slaves, I could have freed thousands more. So this is what Harriet Tubman said. And it's so true, actually, especially under consumerism, because it's a subtle thing. Subtle means it's abstract. As a slave master, you could have seen a slave master walking down the step and everything, right? But consumerism has no face. It's hard to perceive consumerism. Just the symptoms, how it manifests itself. Okay? So people cannot detect that we are under slavery, under consumerism, much less to fight against consumerism by being self-sufficient, by being independent. So that is, we are under the most powerful form of slavery at the moment. Indeed, yes, there are people in the past who would have, we cannot forget what our foreparents went through in many parts of the world. We cannot forget what our foreparents went through under slavery, right? But consumerism itself is, you can say in one sense, more powerful because it has no face. In those days of slavery, you could have taken a stone and throw it at the master, or organized to kill the master, right? Actually, Harriet Tubman is indicating that people thought the master was guiding them, right? Like a manager, but they don't realize that the leader or the master was hurting them so much. So that's why Harriet Tubman said that if she could convince them that actually this master, having a master, you're under slavery, then she could have freed thousands more. So similarly, we have to be convinced about consumerism, right? We have to be convinced about consumerism, which is simply over-dependence on another for basic survival commodities, food. Right? The basic survival commodity, food, we are dependent on somebody for that. And that is the real grip of consumerism. Okay, so that's my little presentation. It's 13 minutes going on to 15. I don't want to take too long. And the only way I learned through YouTube that something can, it will have some rating is by sharing, right? It will have value by sharing these kind of messages. Okay, so thank you all so much, all of the subscribers. It means a lot, and your boys are BHU here. I'm giving it my best. I don't have to. I was playing cricket with the students. I'm kind of sweaty right now. It's my duty to sit and speak about things that are meaningful. I hope that I clearly point out why we are under slavery, what exactly is the master, how the master manifests. I hope you remember. You might have to look at the video again, but I would have clearly mentioned everything. You want me to summarize? Alright. Well, first of all, we would have caused slavery upon ourselves by going with the flow, survival of the fittest. Right? It manifests into consumerism. Consumerism means depending on others for survival commodities, and that creates a mood of slavery, a mood of dependency, a mood of control over the weaker. So we have to fight that by being self-sufficient. Self-sufficient plant-based diets. Okay, so check out my other videos. Okay, thank you so much.